In this video, I'll share 5 niches that are guaranteed to sell in 2024. Some are tried and true Etsy bestsellers every single year, and a few are really only specific to 2024. So make sure to stay tuned all the way until the end so you can learn all about these profitable niches and hear my best tips to make sure that you have a profitable 2024. So let's dive right into it. The first niche is election or political shirts. If you didn't know, 2024 is the largest election year in history, with over 40 countries in the world hosting elections this year. This is going to be a major year for political shirts. I started print on demand in the last election cycle here in the US in 2020, and it was a huge time for t-shirt sales. Now, these are not the types of designs that are going to stay in your store and make you tons and tons of sales for years to come, but really specific funny things, like the time that a fly flew and landed on the head of Mike Pence. You put that on a shirt right after it happens. I know some people that were getting 20 or 30 sales per day for a week or two after that happened. So then they die off. So this is more of kind of a fluid time to be making designs for these niches. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still some designs that will sell the entire election season and beyond that are more general. So you want to do a mixture of both. Make some general political shirts. These could be things like the election or the different political parties mixed with things that people are already passionate about, like their hobbies or their professions or who they are as a person. Or it can be really specific things, like I said. I know I watched a video in 2020 of Ryan Hogues where he talked about creating templates. So you come up with the fonts and the colors and the layouts of the shirts, and you watch the presidential elections. And when something really funny or interesting is said, you make a shirt with those words and post it immediately. Now, not all of these are going to take off, but sometimes people really do immediately go and start searching for items with that stuff on it because they think it's funny and they buy it. And so this can be, again, be a great way to get 30 sales tomorrow. And so I would definitely recommend implementing Ryan's method of creating templates and watching these elections and creating items that way. Now, public figures do fall within the public domain. So we are able to make designs with public figures on them. But there are a few caveats where public figures can trademark their own sayings. So some things that say Trump has said are trademarked, for example. So you do want to make sure to check those types of things, especially if it's not something that was just said last night, and make sure they're not trademarked first. The other really important thing to know about this niche is you can't just use pictures of people, even if they are in the public domain. Whoever that photographer is owns that photo. And so you need to purchase graphics that you have the commercial license to use, or you can even pay someone on Fiverr to make you, say, a drawing or a sketch version of a picture if you're wanting to use a specific image or facial expression. So definitely don't miss out on the political niche this year. There's a lot of money to be made in this niche. Niche number 2 that is guaranteed to sell in 2024 is a tried and true niche that has made me tons of money over the years and lots of other sellers, and Etsy is actually a go-to location for these types of shirts, and that is bachelorette shirts. This is actually the niche that got me my first ever 10 orders in a day, because someone can have one listing and purchase anywhere from 5 to 12 shirts usually for a bachelorette party. So this can be a great way to get more revenue in your store without having to create more listings, because every bachelorette listing you make has the potential to get you exponentially more sales than a listing that is not for group shirts. And like I said, Etsy has become the go-to place for all things bridal. So there are tons of people coming to the platform and looking for items like these. Now, that being said, you can't just make a shirt that says bride and bachelorette party. You have to get a lot more specific than that. So really, my best advice with breaking into this niche in 2024 is doing the updated research for 2024. So look at websites like theknot.com or Pinterest, and look at, like, if you were the maid of honor trying to plan a bachelorette party, Look for things like best bachelorette party themes for 2024, best bachelorette party locations for 2024, and see how you can combine these certain elements to make something unique and different that people are going to be searching for. And if you're like me, when I first got started on Etsy, I stayed away from this niche for a little while because I thought everything had been done before and that there was no more room left in this niche. But let's go over to Etsy and I'll show you some brand new listings listed within the last 6 months that are absolutely crushing it. So over here in Etsy, I am using my Everbee Chrome extension. This is a research tool that lets you filter the search results that can be really helpful when you're doing research for something like this. I'll have a link down below for Everbee. If you haven't tried them yet, you get 50% off your first 2 months of their Pro plan if you love it. So looking here at Everbee's analytics, all I did was go to bachelorette party shirts, and now here you can see I sorted them. This top listing is 5 months old and has sold 1,078 times. This one is only 3 months old and has sold 648 times. Another that's 3 months old and sold 546 times. 4 months old and sold 543 times, and so on. You can go down this list and see just how many brand new listings within the last 6 months are absolutely crushing it in this niche. Now I blurred out the actual shop names and the listings because I don't want every single person on my channel to go make all the exact same bachelorette listings for the same niches, because then they wouldn't be as undersaturated as they are. So this is just a great reminder because I looked through these, and the really big common denominator that I saw in newer listings doing ridiculously well this year was actually personalized bachelorette party shirts. So things where you can personalize the bride's name, or you can personalize the location or the date, is really, really huge. I know personalization can feel a little bit intimidating, but this is such a great way to add value. And so if you find a bachelorette niche that doesn't have personalization yet, see if there's something that you can add to it, and that can be a great way to bring in more revenue, just like you can see on these listings here. And if you're nervous about having to personalize so many orders in such a short amount of time like these listings have, there is a software that can help you with that. It's called Hello Custom, and it is a personalization automation tool. So this tool, once you get an order, will actually take what the customer input on the order. They'll put that name or that date onto the item, and they'll even upload that design to Printify and send it to fulfillment for you. And so I do have a link for them down below, where if you use my code Cassie, you can get a free extra 30-day trial to try out Hello Custom and see if it works well for you. Now, our third niche that is guaranteed to sell in 2024 is birthday shirts. Now, this is a really, really wide category. So birthday shirts can mean a lot of different things. So with this niche, I really recommend going narrow. So instead of just regular birthday, there's a lot more specific niches that you can make designs for in this niche. So one example would be leap year shirts. So 2024 is a leap year. Only every 4 years do people's birthdays on February 29th come around. And so this can be a funny niche to make designs for. Another really specific birthday idea is golden birthdays. So this is when people turn, say, 20 on the 20th or 12th on the 12th. That's called their golden birthday. And so things like that are much more specific can be a great way to get extra sales. But those aren't the only ways. There's a lot of things like group matching birthday shirts, and that's for little kids and adults. People go on, say, 30th or 50th birthday vacations all the time and have everyone wear matching shirts. But even more than that, little kids have themed birthday parties that they buy shirts for the whole family. So if your baby is turning 1, maybe they do a mermaid theme birthday, and all of the family members have some kind of mermaid themed shirt. So this is another one like bachelorettes, where it's a really good idea to do some research on the best birthday party theme ideas, so you can come up with some great unique designs to upload on the platform. Definitely want to make sure that you're checking your trademarks to make sure that any of the fun sayings that people use for first or second or third birthdays, like wild one, aren't trademarked, right before you make designs for them. And I will link my new trademark video down in the description because USPTO just had a recent overhaul where it looks very different than it did before. And I have some updated information on how to check for trademarks after speaking to a trademark lawyer myself. So definitely, even if you think you know how to check for trademarks, check out that video down below. And going back to Etsy for this niche, let's take a look at 50th birthday party shirts for an example, because that's one of the biggest ones. I'll give you a hint that sell well for birthday shirts is 50th birthday party shirts. And if we look here on Everbee again, you have listings that are 9 months old with 600 sales, 12 months old with 622, 9 months old with 614 sales, 9 months old with 544 sales, and so on. So this is absolutely still a niche that you can get into today and absolutely make sales in 2024. But again, it doesn't have to be just 50th birthday party shirts. I don't want to give away too many of the great ideas, but these can range anywhere from as generic as Hello 30 all the way to as specific as this awesome person was born in January of 1994. You really have a huge range of types of shirts you can make, and I definitely recommend making a little bit of both, and even maybe throwing in some of those personalized options like we were talking about with bachelorette shirts. Since I don't see a ton of personalized options with birthday shirts, this could be a great way to stand out. And if I didn't mention before, I will put my personalized orders tutorial video down in the description as well if you're not sure how that works. And if you're watching this and you haven't even actually opened your print-on-demand and Etsy store just yet, then I want you to pause this video and go to the link in the description below to my free 8-module mini course that teaches you how to set up your Etsy store, how to set up Printify, connect them, and upload your first listing. You don't have to have tons of research done and tons of listings made before you can get started. My best advice to you is to just get started today. Take one teeny step, learn one new thing tomorrow, because it's impossible to learn it all before you get started. This business is simple, but there is so much to learn. So please do yourself a favor and don't put it off anymore. This could be absolutely life-changing for you if you even just get a few listings that take off. So please, 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 if you haven't opened your store just yet, use that link down below, go through my absolutely free mini course and get started, and then come back to this video. Niche number 4 guaranteed to sell this year are professions shirts. I know I've talked about this a ton on my channel, so let's go into it a little bit more again. Etsy is the go-to place for people to buy gifts, especially really custom, super specific stuff that you're not going to be sold at Walmart or Target because it's too specific to a certain kind of person. And people love to buy things for people that they are passionate about. And if there's one thing I know is that people are super passionate about their professions. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are. And so this can make a great gift for someone, especially after graduation. If someone just graduated to become a nurse, for example, this makes a great graduation present. So right now, if you're watching this when I release it, this is the perfect time to be listing these types of items for the spring graduations that are coming up here really soon. Now, if you're wondering what type of professions even sell on shirts, my best advice to you is to start with something really simple, like maybe teacher, social worker, any kind of profession that you know about, and go see if there's shirts that are selling or whatever type of item that you're selling in this category. And from there, you can go to the Etsy stores that are selling those professions, and usually this is a big niche that they get into in general. I know that's what happened to myself. It was a gateway niche. And so say I got into teachers, then I found out about social workers, then I found out about, more specific teachers like art teachers or math teachers, for example. And then I got off into a million different directions of lots of different types of professions that sell well on Etsy, especially if there's any that you really know about. Maybe there's not even shirts for sale for those types of professions just yet, and you can post a couple and see what happens. And this is another one of those niches where instead of going really wide and saying make just a teacher shirt and just a nurse shirt, you really want to sub-niche. And what that means is you go to the smaller, more specific versions of those niches and really capitalize on them. So for teachers, for example, you could break it down into math teacher, art teacher, special education teacher. There's so many different types of teachers. And say with nurses, same thing. There's so many different types of nurses. Again, with Etsy, that's your biggest weapon that you can use, is be really specific where they can't buy these products anywhere else. That makes Etsy the go-to place for these really specific shirts. Now let's head back over to Etsy to show you just how much money there is to be made in these really specific professions. So taking a look at the art teacher, for example, my favorite way to filter the search results is to go to the all filters button. And I like to look at just physical items since I have a lot of digital downloads that'll come up in my feed, and sort by star seller and click sort. But here you can actually go to the search bar up here and delete the word star and type the word best instead. And this will show you only best selling items for this niche. So you can see there are tons of bestsellers in the art teacher and teacher niches in general, just bestsellers after bestsellers after bestsellers. There are just so many. So taking a look again at FABRICA's analytics, since that can give you a really good idea of how much money people are actually making, I'll sort by the total sales here. So you have some more generic teacher shirts selling 5,000–6,000 times in the last 20 to 22 months. And then you even have a specific art teacher shirt right here. In the last 38 months, it's sold 2,600 times. And let's see if we can find one that is a little bit younger. This one here is 11 months old and has sold 226 times and is really specific to art teachers as well. This one here is 12 months old with 187 sales and so on. So this can be one of those great niches. But again, it's not just art teacher shirts. This one's just an example. There are so many profitable random professions out there that you should capitalize on this year. And that brings us to the fifth and final guaranteed niche to sell in 2024. And this is another 2024 specific for the Olympics. So you might be wondering, can I even sell things for the Olympics? And the answer is yes and no. So the Olympics is trademarked. You can't do anything that looks like the torch or the rings or says the Olympics in your title or your tags anywhere. That stuff is trademarked. So I'm not telling you, very specific here, I'm not telling you to sell things that say anything about the Olympics, but things related to Paris will probably sell well this year. Obviously, again, always make sure to check your trademarks. Things that are patriotic to all the different countries that are included are going to really be popular this year. So think shirts with flags on it, especially if people live in the US but maybe are from somewhere else. Those combined flags, where it's say half one country, half the US, are going to sell really well this year. But this is another one of those niches that you want to be very specific with. So we're going to see a rise in shirts related to the types of events at the Olympics this year. So since this is the Summer Olympics, there's going to be events like archery, gymnastics, mountain biking, equestrian, hockey, volleyball, and more. Some of these niches are already even selling really well right now on Etsy. Let's take a look back at Etsy, thinking about one of those events, the equestrian event. So horse shirts might see an increase in sales this year, but they're a prime example of something that's already selling really well right now. So let's go back to Etsy and look at horse shirts. And so you can look through and see if there's any bestsellers, which it looks like there's definitely a couple already right now. Taking a look again at FABRICA's analytics, we'll look and sort these by which listings have the most total sales. So looking through here, you have some shirts that have sold 2,600 times, 800 times, lots and lots of sales, and we'll see if there's any more new ones. So this one in particular has sold 499 times in the last 6 months. This one has sold 389 times in the last 6 months. This one sold 286 times in the last 5 months. So this is definitely a niche that is already selling really well right now. And if you can get into it before it has its big uptick for the Olympics this summer, you can cash in on those extra sales. My biggest tip to make sure that you're successful with these niches, beyond researching them and making sure that they're a profitable niche in the first place, like I just showed you with a tool like FABRICA, making sure that people are making money very recently in that niche is an important piece of it. But the other piece is, just because other people are making money with it doesn't mean that you necessarily can, unless you learn how to add value. Now, this is something I talk about a ton in my course, and I really want to stress it with you right now as well. You can't just make a shirt that looks just a little bit different than someone else and says the exact same thing and hope to get as many sales as them. That's already been done. one, they already have reviews. You need to give someone a reason to click yours instead. So one of my favorite ways to add value is to find a niche and make it into matching shirts instead. So let's take a profession at random, for example. Let's say there's a bestseller on a principal shirt. Instead of just making another principal shirt, you could make a matching set for a principal and a vice principal to match, and the listing photo would be of the two shirts together. That will not only get you, hopefully, 2 sales instead of just 1, but it'll also help you stand out against the competition if no one else has done that before. For the Olympic events type ones, maybe that looks like you make a funny horse saying shirt, but instead of just having it on an adult shirt, maybe have it on an adult shirt and a little kid shirt to make a mommy and me matching set. Even if it doesn't say anything about mommy and me, it's just alluding to the fact that you and your daughter can wear these cute matching horse shirts. That is going to help you again stand out in the search results compared to other people. So just something to keep in mind to make sure that you're adding value by doing things like personalization, if there's not any personalization yet, doing things like turning them into matching shirts, or even doing something a little unique with the design by putting the design only where the pocket goes, onto the back, or onto the sleeves. Those are all great ways to stand out if there's not already listings on the first page for that search result that have those types of elements. Like I said, this is something I talk about a ton in my course, the POD Roadmap. And if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description below so you can check out everything that it has to offer, and you can consider joining the hundreds of students in my community that are having results like Mark and Amy, who just got their very first sales in the past couple of weeks, or Chris, who started in October and already has 163 sales, Blue Sky, that just hit 200 sales in their shop, or Cindy, Miho, and Ariel, who all just hit the 1,000 sales in their shops mark. Ariel even posted on August 10th of this year that she had just reached her 50th sale. So in just 4 months, she was able to make 950 sales. Now, you don't have to join my course or anyone else's to be successful, but if you're someone who doesn't have the time to figure out every single detail all by themselves and wants a community for extra support, then it could be the perfect fit for you. And either way, I'll be here on my channel making these videos to help you and support you in any way that I can. I'll link a few videos down in the description that I think will help you along with your journey. Again, if you haven't even gotten started, I do have my free mini course that'll be super helpful as well. And I'll go ahead and set up another video to watch after this one that is an interview with my student, Shauna. She has now sold over $1 million in her Etsy store, and this is after getting started and barely making any sales in her first 9 months. So if that first 9 months sounds relatable to you right now, then I think you'll really love this interview. So there's a few specific things that she did to turn it all around. So I'll link that up next. And as always, thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. And please subscribe if you really enjoyed this, and type your favorite flavor of ice cream down in the comments so I know that you made it all the way until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.